Our next speaker has taken the art of deception and applied it to cybersecurity. Shlomo Touboul is a serial cybersecurity entrepreneur and the CEO of Illusive Networks, which has established itself as the market leader in deception technology. And Shlomo will be speaking about how we can use deception in order to flip the inherent asymmetry in cyber warfare today. Please welcome Shlomo.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. Deceptions and illusions was used for 1,000 years in warfare. Let me take you to the year 1942, North Africa, the coast of North Africa. On one side, we have the General Nazi, Rommel, the Desert Fox, brilliant general, many success, on his way to Egypt. On the other side, we have the Spartan general, the British Montgomery, that has a mission, almost impossible mission, to stop Rommel before getting into Egypt. This is really a big challenge to him. So what is he doing? He's going to talk with people from the show business in London. Makes sense, right? Military. And he engaged Jasper Mesiclin, a magician from London, who brings him and his team and create a whole army of decoy tanks made of wood and papers and locate them in one place. And then he take the real tank, cover them again with wood and papers, make them look like trucks and like non-combat vehicles, and locate them in different places. So when the Rommel army start to engage on those decoy tanks, then Rommel comes from the back, and the rest is history. Rommel was defeated in El Alamein. By the way, there was another scenario in the same war with the USA Army, where they created what is called the Ghost Army. So they did exactly what he did in the front, and during D-Day and after D-Day, the same techniques. So whenever you reach a situation of asymmetric, whenever you exhausted all the measurements in your combat, you engage delusions and deceptions. In cybersecurity, about 12 years ago, the first introduction to deception came in the form of honeypots. People put honeypots initially to attract malware, get the samples, and then they say, that looks good, let's put it inside the network to attract attackers. They did so, and then 4 years ago, there is a second generation of honeypot, Honeypot 2.0, came by companies, and now instead of putting boxes, actual boxes in different locations in the network, they create VMs and then allocate many VMs. But the fundamental problem with honeypot remains, and that's it's very difficult to scale. Think about 100,000 machines network. How many honeypots should I put? Thousands? I need to patch them, I need to update them. If I put too many of them, it's also available to the end users in IT, I'm going to get false positive. I put too few of them, attacker won't see them. So what we really need is deception from different kind. Let's turn every endpoint to a deceiving entity. So whenever the attacker is moving on every endpoint, he finds deceptions. And let's do it without having any software running there. And let's do it in a way that IT and end user don't see it, only the attacker. Is that possible? Yes, it is. What do you need from that kind of deceptions? Number one, they need to be non-fingerprintable. So when the attacker lands on one machine, instead of seeing 2 attack vectors, you see 20 of them. 18 of them are deceptions, but he can't tell which one are real, which one are not. If he's using the wrong one, it's detected. 2, let's make them diverse. As you move from one machine to another machine, it doesn't look the same. You get different picture of the network, like you expect to see a different picture on the network. And third, let's make them changing over time or dynamic, because the nature of our network is to be dynamic. So I have a fish pond in my yard, in my backyard actually, and there is a big olive tree behind it with a big branch coming above that pool. I have many koi fish in that pool. It's very expensive, cost me a lot of money. But this Fisher King's bird come every day at 10 a.m., discover my pond, sit there on that branch, looking down, and select the victim to serve his next breakfast. Now, this is asymmetric situation, right? Of course, I didn't like it. So what if I would like to deploy deceptions in the pond? I need to create those fish, like Jasper, right? Each fish needs to look very much like a real fish, so it's non-fingerprintable. 2, if I'm going to duplicate the same fish again and again, it doesn't going to serve me, right? The kingfisher, the bird will see that, so it needs to be diverse. And last, it needs to be dynamic. So if it doesn't move, again, you'll see the fish that move and the fish doesn't move is not going to take the bait. if I deploy that kind of artificial coins in my pond, probably going to get the bait. So the next image that I had it earlier looks like topology of network. It's not exactly topology. It's what we call the attacker view or the attacker map, which is the dream of the attacker. Every point here, it's a bit difficult to see, but there are points here. There are 5,000 points, represent a computer. Every line represents an attack vector, so the attacker can use one of them to move to the next machine. That can be an SSH connection, FTP connection, database connection. It may be admin user credentials spread all over. You can pick them and use them in order to move to do the lateral movement. So you can start in any machine up there to get to any of those critical resources you may use. Now, attacker, of course, don't get to see that. He has this draw view when he lands on one machine, and he needs to discover that map. He would love to get that. But that customer also deploy deceptions. Now, instead of 5,000 points here, we have additional 20,000 orange one that you can see. So we have a total of 25,000 points here. Attackers see a network with 25,000 machines instead of 5,000 machines. And the 10,000 attack vectors turn to be 250,000, 250,000 attack vectors that are connected here. Think about the attacker now. He lands on one machine, and each time, instead of seeing just 2 attack vectors, you see 20. What we are doing here, if it's non-fingerprint, as I said before, sorry, what we are doing here is we are confusing the attacker. In fact, we are forcing the attacker to gamble. And if he gambles, he can't gamble too many times in a row. It's like me going into a casino, believe I can keep gambling and be successful. We know the house is the successful. So by that, we are turning the defender to be the house, and we are making the attacker to be the gambler. Thank you very much.